Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday in the beginning of, uh, I would say beginning of the work week, but whatever kind of week it is for you, welcome back for another installment of Ask Baba Lon, answers to questions of life and magic. And we're rolling right along. We're that far through it. We have a whole bunch of construction going on in the school across the street. They're repaving, so there might be even more noise than we usually get. We've got the airplanes flying over here from John Wayne Airport. I believe they're getting ready to change that name, and laying asphalt across the street. And this isn't the only broadcast I do today. I'm being interviewed just as soon as I stop this, so that's why I'm kind of dressed up this morning. But anyway, we're in the section of the book called Real Life. And yesterday we talked about balancing life and magic. This morning I'm going to read two letters. I think that's what we'll have time for. Under the heading Addiction and Forgiveness. Dear Baba Lon, I really enjoyed reading your autobiography. You've led and are leading an extraordinary life. Within that life, you've had to overcome many obstacles. I have an obstacle in my way that has hounded me for nearly my entire life. I am a sex addict. I know that you have no problems with sex or on any moral ground. This isn't about morality. It's about me being controlled by something that doesn't make me happy. Depression, drugs, and alcohol have been a constant in my life for nearly 18 years now. It would be great if you could maybe point me toward some help. What are your views on addiction? Thank you for your time. Name withheld. Dear Name Withheld, I'm glad you enjoyed my life with the spirits and have taken the time to write me. Let me begin by saying that I'm profoundly unqualified to offer any advice to anyone on issues of health or psychology. If I were to offer any suggestion, it would be what I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times before, that is to seek the counsel of a licensed professional. I too struggle every day with a variety of issues that I handle with uneven levels of success. If I've accomplished anything, it has been the partial ability to accept myself as I am, from day to day, second to second. Recently, I found myself writing in a car with 3 other authors, professional writers who are far more celebrated and successful than myself, I assure you, who were sharing their feelings of guilt concerning their bad behavior and what they considered their weaknesses, character flaws, addictions, etc. I listened and I thought to myself how my weaknesses, character flaws, addictions, etc., were far more serious than theirs. But I wasn't struggling with any of the guilt. For a moment, I was starting to feel guilty that I wasn't feeling guilty. But then I realized why there was no guilt. When there was a break in their chatter, I told them in a goofy, dramatic voice, "I've learned to forgive myself." Everyone laughed very hard for a moment, And then the car went silent. It's true. I've learned to forgive myself. But by doing so, I've also installed within myself a governor on my behavior. A governor who is always at least trying to make sure that I remain worthy of that forgiveness. I don't think I could tolerate it if that governor were some other person or organization or religion or philosophy. My instant reaction to that would be one big fuck you. Saying fuck you to myself, on the other hand, is a different matter and definitely sets me to thinking. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't misbehave anymore. On the contrary, I still habitually ... And in parentheses it says, something embarrassingly naughty. And I've completely stopped ... Something more embarrassingly naughty. And every once in a while, I even ... Something I would never discuss with strangers. But I no longer indulge in these unduly. I no longer fall thoughtless into my actions, even when body chemistry is involved. This has resulted in a marked decline in such behavior. And that's good for my health, stability, and general well-being. However, that's only a byproduct of the real payoff. The real reward comes from the fact that the concept of control has ceased to be an issue altogether. Now I can reserve guilt for important things, like being a year behind deadline for a book I've already been paid for. I hope this has been helpful, and I wish you the very best of luck in your life. My best, Babylon. So there. The next letter is called Lose Your Soul. Hello, Babylon. I've been interested in magic for some time now, and I think I'm ready to dive in. However, I'm still having a few nagging questions that are difficult to find the answers to in books on the subject. Knowing that your expertise is in Enochian or angel magic, in your opinion, how does this differ from being a born-again, true Christian? Also, on the other side of the coin, are you familiar enough with the working of the dark side of magic to know whether a person could lose his soul or become demon-possessed by dabbling in that particular discipline? I've read many things about it, both good and bad. Thank you, name withheld. Hi, name withheld. Forgive the brevity of my answer this morning. I've got a lot on my plate today. I'm going to be perfectly frank with you, and I want you to take what I say in the spirit that it is offered. They say there is no such thing as a bad question, and your questions certainly aren't exceptions. But they do indicate to me that your fundamental understanding of the subject is currently such that you are probably mistaken in your assertion that you are ready to dive into magic. I don't know how to answer your first question. Dee was a Christian, as were many medieval Renaissance magicians. Whether they were true Christians is something upon which I don't feel qualified to pass judgment. Perhaps if you read my books, The Key to Solomon's Key or Enochian Vision Magic, you might get a clearer idea. Also, for the fundamentals, my book, Angels, Demons, and Gods of the New Millennium, might be helpful. People with existing emotional or mental issues should stay away from guns, drugs, alcohol, magic, and Christianity. If you're crazy to begin with, all these things make it worse. I've never experienced a case of demon possession outside a tavern or cocktail lounge, and in those instances, the possessed individuals had never in their lives dabbled with magic at all. I do not wish to offend you, but if you're disturbed by the possibility or even the capability of losing your soul or being demon possessed, then it is likely you're currently not in touch with the spiritual realities that would make magic a safe and meaningful endeavor. My best, Babylon. Okay, no, I will read a third question this morning because we're doing good on time. Is magic harmful to children? Dear Babylon, my wife asked me a question about the Necronomicon the other day, as she has been doing angel magic through talismans and has had little success. So she intends to use the Necronomicon. She asked me if it'd be dangerous with a small child in the house, if it even works. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, as I've never used that mythos. I've read the book, but I don't know if it works. Could you offer some opinions or advice about the system? Have you ever used it? Does it work? Is there danger to it? Is there any danger to it? Especially to our daughter. I remember from your book, you used the Goetia when your child was young. Would you have used the Necronomicon instead? Name withheld. Dear name withheld, I'm really not trying to take the color and romance out of magic for you. But you should know that the so-called Necronomicon that is being sold today in various editions was artfully created in the late 1970s by several people known to myself. In fact, my son has a signed first edition from one of the participants in the project, who is a family friend. That being said, the Necronomicon, when used properly, can probably be as viable a system of magical evocation as any number of ancient grimoires. Does that surprise you? After all, even the books of classic Key of Solomon had to be created by somebody. Magic isn't harmful to children, but parents who behave over dramatically, spooky, fearful, and superstitious often are. I did lots of magical rituals and ceremonies in the house when our son was growing up. I even evoked spirits in his bedroom, with him out of the room, naturally. I did not, however, perform serious magic in front of him, with the exception of saying will before eating and resh at sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight. Those are small things like saying blessing, thelemic versions of saying blessing, and 4 solar adorations. Also, going to Gnostic Mass. Neither did Constance and I attempt to turn him into a little magician. I think it's absolutely shameful to see parents who themselves do not yet have an adequate understanding of magic or the nature of their own spiritual explorations trying to indoctrinate their kids. When Jean-Paul was growing up, Constance and I just tried to be as normal as we could. Kids like normal. But that doesn't mean normal can't be fun, colorful, and interesting. We didn't make a big thing about how different we were because we didn't believe in Jesus like the neighbors do. In fact, we exposed him to as many religions and spiritual philosophies as his age would handle. Kids are smart. They can see through Christianity, but they can also see through you and me. Best to teach by example of your own happiness. If your magic is not making you happy, your kids are certainly not going to want to embrace it when they are grown. Off my soapbox, gotta get ready for Monday night class. My best, Baba Lon. That's where we'll close today with that one. Tomorrow we'll pick up on the serious subject of suicide and why am I doing this stuff? In the meantime, have a great week. Be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.